You think your city is difficult to live in? Too expensive? Too crowded? Too stressful? Fair enough. But somewhere on this planet right now, people are surviving in places so extreme. They almost look fake. One town disappears into darkness for weeks. Another sits beside a mountain that kills nearly 1 out of every 3 climbers. Some people survive where temperatures drop so low, fuel freezes. Others live where rain falls so hard, clouds literally drift into their homes. And somehow, human beings adapted. Because the strangest thing about Earth is this: no matter how impossible a place looks, someone eventually decides to live there. And the deeper we go into these places, the harder it becomes to believe people actually survive. So before we begin, comment where you're watching from, because by the end of this video, your hometown might suddenly feel a lot easier to live in. Let's start with a place that feels like another planet: the South Pole Station. Now, when most people imagine Antarctica, they think cold, snow, ice, maybe penguins. Reality, it is far worse than that. This is the coldest permanently inhabited place on Earth. Temperatures here regularly drop below -50 degrees Celsius. And at its worst, they have recorded temperatures near -82 degrees Celsius. Cold so brutal, breathing hurts, skin freezes in minutes, and going outside without preparation can become deadly unbelievably fast. But somehow, people still live here. Scientists stay for months studying climate, astronomy, and Earth itself. Yet what makes this place truly extreme is not only temperature. It is isolation. For nearly half the year, no planes can arrive. No one can leave. You are trapped, completely cut off from the rest of humanity. Imagine that for a second. No restaurants, no quick trips, no escaping. Just endless white ice stretching farther than your brain can even process. And then comes something even stranger. For 6 straight months, the sun never sets. Then for another 6 months, it never rises. Permanent daylight, permanent darkness. Your body literally forgets what normal life feels like. Which is exactly why the station has something you would never expect in Antarctica: a greenhouse. Because scientists discovered something shocking. Fresh vegetables help people mentally survive isolation. Think about that. In one of the harshest places on Earth, lettuce became emotional support. And somehow, this still is not the hardest place humans live. Because if freezing sounds impossible, wait until you see what happens when nature never stops raining. Welcome to Mawsynram, India, the wettest inhabited place on Earth. Here, rain is not weather. It is life. This village receives roughly 467 inches of rainfall every single year. To put that into perspective, some cities barely see rain for months. Here, it almost feels permanent. Humidity stays so high, clouds drift through windows, literally inside homes. Imagine waking up, and the weather has entered your bedroom. Normal umbrellas? Almost useless. So locals invented something smarter. A giant dome-shaped shield made from bamboo and banana leaves called the nup. It keeps both hands free during non-stop rain. Because when rain never stops, you stop fighting nature. You adapt to it. But the strangest part, instead of destroying life, the rain created something unbelievable. Living bridges. Not wooden, not steel. Living. For generations, local communities guided tree roots across rivers, slowly shaping them into natural bridges strong enough to survive floods. Think about how insane that is. Most countries build concrete bridges. These people grow them. But if too much rain sounds miserable, what if there was almost no water at all? Because what comes next looks less like Earth and more like Mars. Death Valley, the hottest place in North America. This place feels broken. Summer temperatures regularly climb above 50 degrees Celsius. The ground itself, hot enough to fry your brain just standing on it. Rain barely exists. Some years, nothing falls. Zero. And yet somehow, life survives. Plants wait years underground doing absolutely nothing. Then one rare rainfall happens. And suddenly, millions of flowers explode across the desert. Almost overnight. It looks impossible. Like nature accidentally forgot this place was supposed to be dead. But Death Valley has another mystery that scientists spent decades trying to explain. Rocks. Moving by themselves. No people. No animals. No ropes. Just giant stones slowly dragging across dry lake beds, leaving long trails behind them. For years, people thought it was fake. Paranormal. Aliens. Turns out, thin layers of ice and strong winds slowly push them. Still weird. Still unsettling. Still one of the strangest things on Earth. But nature gets darker. Much darker. Because some places do not become extreme naturally. Some become impossible because humans broke them. And nowhere proves that better than Chernobyl. One explosion. That is all it took. In 1986, a nuclear disaster changed everything. Entire cities emptied almost overnight. Nearly 50,000 people evacuated. Homes abandoned. Schools frozen in time. Amusement parks never opened. And suddenly, an entire region became a ghost world. Today, the most famous image is the Ferris wheel standing silent inside Pripyat. Rusting. Frozen. Like time itself stopped moving. But here is what makes Chernobyl terrifying. Radiation is invisible. One step can be safe. A few feet away, dangerous. Some areas remain surprisingly normal. Others still carry contamination levels thousands of times higher. Visitors literally need radiation detectors just to move safely. And somehow, some people returned. Elderly residents ignored warnings, went home, and continued farming, living beside one of the worst nuclear disasters in history. Because sometimes, home matters more than fear. But what if nature itself wanted you gone? That brings us to one of the deadliest mountains ever climbed. Annapurna. Beautiful, deadly, unforgiving. This mountain has one of the highest fatality rates on Earth. Roughly 1 in 3 climbers die attempting it. Think about that. Imagine boarding a plane, knowing 1/3 of passengers would never land. That is Annapurna. Avalanches strike without warning. Ice collapses suddenly. Weather changes instantly. And yet, people still climb. Why? Because human beings are weird. The harder something becomes, the more badly some people want to conquer it. But this mountain plays psychological games. Because lower down, it looks peaceful. Forests, villages, green valleys. Then slowly, everything changes. Trees disappear. Air becomes thinner. Snow takes over. And suddenly, you are standing inside one of the harshest environments on Earth, where one bad decision can end everything. No, that mountain would already sound impossible. But what if I told you there is a coastline so brutal? It became known as the place ships go to die. Welcome to the Skeleton Coast. And yes, that name is not exaggeration. Over 1,000 shipwrecks scatter this coastline. Fog rolls in so thick, captains could not see danger coming. Ships crashed. People got stranded. And survival became almost impossible. Because escaping the ocean only meant entering the desert. No water. No rescue. Nothing. Even today, the coast looks haunting. Rusting shipwrecks sitting inside sand dunes. Whale bones scattered along beaches. Fog swallowing the horizon. It feels cursed. Yet somehow, animals survive. Desert lions hunt seals here. Yes, lions. On beaches. Nature makes absolutely no sense sometimes. But if that sounds surreal, this next place feels completely unreal. A lake that boils. Literally boils. Welcome to Boiling Lake, Dominica. This is not normal hot water. This is a giant flooded volcanic vent. Water seeps underground, touches magma, then violently boils back upward. Temperatures near the edges reach dangerous levels. The center. Nobody even knows exactly, because it is too violent to measure properly. And reaching it is not simple either. You hike for hours across steaming volcanic terrain. Cracks in the ground release heat beneath your feet. Sulfur fills the air. Everything smells strange. And suddenly, you arrive. A giant lake violently bubbling like Earth itself is angry. No fish. No plants. Nothing survives inside. Because some places were simply never meant for life. And then, there is a city so cold. Cars never turn off. Meet Norilsk, Russia. One of the harshest cities humans have ever built. Winter dominates everything. Blizzards bury buildings. Temperatures become brutal. And if you switch off your car too long, it might never start again. Pipes freeze. Roads vanish beneath snow. Darkness lasts for weeks. People tunnel through snowbanks just to move around. And despite all this, over 100,000 people still live there. Why? Industry. Jobs. Money. The city became a major mining center. Workers receive higher salaries and longer vacations. Because life here is simply harder. Much harder. But after seeing all these places, you start noticing something strange. Humans are stubborn. Unbelievably stubborn. Too cold. We build heaters. Too wet. We grow bridges. Too dangerous. We climb anyway. Too isolated. We stay. And maybe that is the most unbelievable thing about Earth. Not the places themselves, but the people surviving them. Because if there is one lesson hidden inside these impossible corners of the planet, it is this. Human beings adapt. Again. And again. And again. No matter how impossible survival looks. But there is one thing I realized after seeing all these places. Most of us spend our lives complaining about inconvenience. Traffic. Wi-Fi. Bad weather. Long workdays. Meanwhile, someone is living beside boiling water. Someone else survives 6 months of darkness. Another person crosses bridges made from tree roots during endless rain. Suddenly, normal problems feel a little smaller. Because Earth is far stranger and far harsher than most of us ever realize. And honestly, that might be what makes this planet so fascinating. Because no matter how impossible somewhere looks, life somehow finds a way. So, which of these places shocked you the most? And more importantly, would you survive even 1 week in any of them? If you enjoyed this video, hit subscribe. Because trust me, the world gets even stranger from here.